How you do? What's up? Hello, Primos. Happy Thursday. It is 12 p.m. And you know what that means. It is Primos Chidos. We are out here. It's cold. I hope y'all are staying warm. Stay hydrated, people. I'm a little sick still, so you can hear it in my voice. But of course, I am here also with my host, the bro, Steve.
What's up? What's up, everybody? I actually had something ready, but we had a little bit of technical difficulties. So I got a little distracted, but I'm going to read you something that I heard from Do the Right Thing. So we're out here doing the nasty to your ears and your ears to the nasty. There's also a water shortage, to make sure to keep those showers to a minute. 2 if you're showering with a friend.
What is it? What else they say? My main man Mookie has come to save the day. That's in a song, which I really like that they sampled it. But I'm here as well. I didn't get introduced.
I know that's Brandon, by the way.
Go ahead, Brandon. Do your intro.
The code to self-esteem is the code to we didn't have our theme today just because I don't know, just some technical difficulties. It's not that big a deal. It's not that serious.
I hope you guys are still doing good and enjoying our show like always. For you regulars out there, I hope you guys are staying good, staying healthy. That fog is coming in.
Patty with Fatty, hope you're out there.
Yeah, our biggest fan, our stan.
My favorite fan. Once we get verified, he's getting a follow back.
I thought he wasn't. I thought we made a deal that he wasn't getting a follow back.
No. It's the people who don't follow us now that we know about our show. Don't get a follow back. But the people who are supporting us when we're down, they get a follow back. When we're
okay. Say less.
Pat's always blowing up the chat, and he's on the show. He gets followed back.
I'll think about it.
Oh, okay. Oh, so for like a follow back, we need all 3 approval.
Yeah.
I need to look at their posts too, and I gotta see they're not problematic.
I need to see how many followers they have.
Yeah, I need their coolness. It's kind of like high school. I need to see, like, are they worthy of a follow? Like, do their pictures smack, or are they just like shitty memes? Yeah, I know. Julie, why don't you go ahead and introduce what we're doing today on the show?
All right, y'all. Well, I know November's over. Sad.
Flew by.
But it's December. Anyways, no, I'm just kidding. But going back to November, so Steve and Brandon were born in November.
That's true. That's true.
So y'all celebrated your birthdays.
That's
yes,
true.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. We actually have a live studio audience today.
Yeah, we do.
The big fans.
It's funny because we could, but like 2 people.
Yeah, it probably would be as loud as that. If we brought a lot of little kids, they probably could fit in here in the studio. So it sounds exactly
But
like
I don't think that would look good on our image.
bringing a bunch of little
Bring
kids.
a bunch of little kids.
What about my nephew, man? What if I just bring my
No,
little
he can
nephew?
come. I'm
Yeah,
cool with that guy.
Yeah, he's cool.
You would hear him in the background yelling.
Yeah, he would never shut up. He loves to talk, especially at this age too. You know what else? Since we were born in November, you know what? Who else is born in November? Like most serial killers. Most serial killers are born in November. I don't know if you knew this.
You know who
It's
else was born in
Scorpio
November?
things, I guess.
You know who else
Sus?
was born in November?
Who?
Jesus. No, I wasn't.
Jesus.
He's
Maybe the
like-
janitor.
He was born in like May or something.
That's a little sus for you to say, Steve.
Wait, what's this? Wait, what's this?
Why would you
say?
assume a guy
Serial?
named Jesus is a janitor? Maybe he's a
No.
scientist.
I was
It's 'cause-
talking about the murder.
Oh. You guys are both coming from my throat for 2 different things. But to answer you, I actually did have a janitor in high school who was named Jesus. Yeah, so don't come at me with that racist shit.
Damn.
No, I don't mean.
Damn.
And she instigator, complete instigator. And as for you, why did I bring up the serial killer thing? I don't know. I just think it's a fun fact. I always think about it. You're the one. Wait a minute. She's my sister. She was the one who always told me this, and she's like, I'm gonna keep an eye on you. But go ahead, Julie. We're wasting your
But
minutes.
anyways, yeah. So how do y'all feel? So what age did y'all turn? Y'all turned.
Oh, okay. I turned 23 and Brandon turned 21.
Wow.
Maybe I wanted to say it. No, I turned 21. Yeah.
How does it feel to be 21, bro?
It's weird. It's the first. Well, I don't know about the first age, but the first age in a while where I actually feel older.
Really?
Yeah, where I'm like,
What was the age before that?
I don't remember. Like, I'm
18?
sure. I'm sure I felt it. No, not really 18, because you still can't really do that much stuff. You can like go to a club, but it's not really my thing anyway, so I didn't really feel it. But 21, I think I felt a little older, just because like you can do stuff.
You're gonna think I'm too stizzy.
I went stizzy. Patty with the fatty took my stizzy virginity. He took
Wow.
I wanted to be the one to do it, but
you know,
he betrayed me.
You know what's funny? I remember I was walking in. Patrick was like, "It's okay. I was nervous my first time." And it made me laugh.
Bruh.
Oh
No,
my
it was
god.
cool in there. It's cool in there. It's like they got like an emporium. I thought it was gonna be like Costco, but it was more like, I don't know, just like a weed shop. I
It was
guess.
more like I describe it as close to an Apple store.
Yeah, that's
For,
that's,
for those of you who don't know what Stizzy is, Stizzy is a weed dispensary shop in downtown LA, but it's like it's huge and it's like they take that shit very seriously. I was gonna say, have you bought your first beer yet?
I got gifted beer.
But like, have
But
you
have you
gotten it?
bought
No,
it?
I
Yeah.
haven't. I was gonna buy some tequila. Every time I go, they don't have it, so I haven't bought it.
Are you gonna buy
Not meant to
tequila?
be.
Tequila is so far the only drink I can drink where I don't turn red. Which is
Really?
weird. Well, I've heard that darker stuff is what usually gets the Asians. So, like, but yeah, I guess tequila's okay in my system.
I was at a party recently and we took shots of bourbon and it's like, do you know what bourbon is? It's
like-
basically just really dark. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's really dark. And yeah, like not the move. Totally disgusting. And all my Asian friends that were there, Asian glow. Like it was glowing red in there.
We gotta get that 818 and try it in the.
Wait, is that the
people said it was good.
I,
Yeah,
well, I heard people say
Kendall
it gets the job
Jenner's.
done. Like
Yeah.
it gets you fucked up. Which
Really?
is-
I've heard that too.
Which
I've
is
heard that
like-
shit is nasty.
I thought
Better get
early
the
in,
job done.
in an early episode in the show, we were talking shit about it, weren't we?
Yeah.
So now
I don't remember.
we should try it live on the air.
I don't want to support. I'm not kidding.
But go ahead, Julie. Oh, you want to know how I feel, or
Yeah.
Or
So what about you? You're what? 24?
23? bro.
23?
Yeah. I'm 23. Yeah.
24.
How do I feel?
How do you feel now that your birthday passed? And
Damn.
Mm.
I don't know. I think it's interesting just because, like you said, you turned 21. When you turned 21, to me, it was almost crazier than when I turned 23. Just because, like, I've known you my entire life, and like you've always been like, you've been a little boy to me. Like I kiss you on your forehead, you know. But when you turned
Right.
21, I was like, damn, bro. Like you and me are adults now. Like especially when we went to go see Eternals recently.
Mm.
And we were in there, and then we want to go eat after. And I was like, damn, this guy could buy a beer if he wants to. Before I always had to. Actually, wait, never mind. I don't want to be prosecuted live on the air. But anyways,
Well, for prosecution's sake, it's a joke. He's joking.
yeah, I'm just joking. But in the past, when I've given you things that you weren't legally supposed to have yet, I always like, Brian's like he's like a little kid. I'm taking care of him, making sure he's setting you on the right path. You know, do the right thing. You know.
You
Do the
know
right
what?
thing.
I got gifted the Stone Cold beers.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, I still have 3. I don't know where they put them. I think they put them in the garage. I was
Oh,
gonna
Did you
bring
try
them.
it?
Yeah, it's
Is
good.
it good?
It's really strong. It's really strong.
How much? Do you know how
Dude.
much percentage they are?
I don't know, but it's a what is it called? It's Stone Cold. It's
Stone Cold beer.
it's not what does he call it? It's the type of beer that it is. It's like what do you call it?
IPA.
Yeah, IPA. Aren't those like really
Yeah,
strong?
those are really
you know
Yeah,
you know
those are
what's weird
strong.
about
Those are
it?
really bitter.
What's weird about it is I felt genuinely, and I was like,
Mm.
I don't know if you're supposed to do it with this beers because I'm pretty sure not. I was like, I feel like this would actually be good with salt and lime. Like it would actually be good.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Stone Cold. He's
interesting.
literally his.
But it's like it's a
tall
hefty
can.
it's a hefty can.
It's a
Like,
tall
I'd
can.
have to share it with somebody.
Dude, I literally was gonna tell you like oh, we
Mhm.
should try them. We should try the IPAs because like you have been talking about it for a while
Uh-huh.
since they came out here. Like everybody says it's the move. Like of anybody who would know, it's Stone Cold because like he loves alcohol. He's
Yeah.
like an alcoholic. That's his thing.
He's an alcoholic.
So right now when you said that, it broke my heart a little bit, man.
Damn.
Well,
like,
I saved 3 because I was like, oh, we should try it on the show, but I just couldn't find them in time. 'cause I was like, late.
Next time for the
Yeah.
podcast. For the
I
podcast.
can.
But just like going back to what you were saying about
Mhm.
turning 23,
Mm.
to me it's weird because like I feel like 21 when I turned 21 I was
Mhm.
excited because I was like, oh yeah, like now I go to bars, now I can like do all this stuff. Like 21, like I don't know, it just felt like such a good year. But then the pandemic happened and so everything was closed and I couldn't go to these bars, I couldn't go to these
Mhm.
clubs. Like Brian said, like Like I'm not about that scene, but it's
Mhm.
just fun. Like I think it's
To
fun.
be able to.
To
Yeah, to be able to
experience.
go, and especially like it's fun every now and then. Like
Yeah.
just drink, dance. Like dancing is really fun for me.
Mhm.
So I think that was cool. But since everything was closed, when I turned 22, to me it was kind of just like 21 part two. So then
Mm.
this year when I turned 23,
Mhm.
I felt like
Just the
I jumped.
trilogy.
Yeah, I jumped from 21 to 23. I feel like there was no in
It felt too
between.
Mhm.
fast.
Yeah, it felt way too fast. And to me, it kind of like caught me off guard.
Mhm.
But I weirdly find comfort in calling it my Jordan year though. Something about it. And then I think about Canelo, like
Mhm.
he was 23, like or boxers when they're 23, it's kind of like their
Mhm.
prime.
Mhm.
And to me, it kind of motivates me in the sense of like, you know what? I'm 23. Fuck it. Like time to take this shit seriously
Mhm.
and achieve my goals, achieve like what I'm trying to do. And so far, so good.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think when I turned 21, I was a little sad. Just because like I wasn't sad for any like particular reason. It's just I always kind of get sad on my birthdays. I'm not really like a birthday person. I don't know.
Mhm.
They're never really all that fun for me. I don't mean like they're not fun like physically. Like
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
like I have a good time with that, but like
Mhm.
up here they
Mentally.
don't really like sit well with me. Just because like I don't know, it just kind of weirds me out. Like I feel like they're like weird milestones.
Do you think about
Really?
that thing of like when you're closer to death?
No, it's not that. It's more it's
Bro,
weirdly not
so
that. It's
dark.
not it's not like a like an age thing. Like
Mhm.
I'm too old now. It's more like a milestone thing. Like I'm 21 and this guy did this by the time he was 21
Mm.
and I
Mm.
haven't done. I'm not even close to doing that. You know what I mean? And that's not good to do that, but it's still kind of one of those things that enters your mind. So I get
Yeah.
what you mean when you're like, it's 23, it's time to take you seriously. But like, yeah, that's why when I turned 21, I was a little sad, but I was just like, I actually feel older. Like I feel like I gotta get on. I gotta get on this. You know.
Well, I mean, I feel like I feel like for both of you, especially for you, Stevie, I feel like you're 23, but I feel like when you look back on it, I mean, you already graduated college. Like you're out of kind of like that part of your life where it's like now you're gonna go into the kind of the real world and like start experiencing it. And Brandon, like you're still in it. I mean, you're
Mm.
21, right? But you're still in college and all that stuff. So you're still pretty young. I mean, 20 is still pretty young. I feel
Mhm.
like people
Yeah.
No, yeah,
now.
it is. It's just like Well, I think we have like. I think our parents all like. I'm assuming. I mean, the parents mature really fast. Like my dad had a kid when he was like 17. My
Yeah.
oldest brother.
Mhm.
So I think like just in retrospect, it's kind of like 21's kind of old. Where
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not true. It's just kind of like just based on what I like kind of know it is. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to think what you're saying, Julie, because I know, especially when he just brought up about like our family. I
Mhm.
mean, since we came from like a Mexican household, it's
Mhm.
immigrant. Our mom had her first kid when she was 19.
Yeah.
So, like, how does that mean for you now? Like, especially you, because you brought up our birthdays. But
Mhm.
one thing you guys shout out to my sister, her birthday's coming up next week.
Yeah.
Mm.
Next week is a birthday
On the
episode, so
Thursday.
make sure
How old are
to
you
tune
turning?
in.
How old are you turning?
I'm turning 25.
Wow, that's a big year.
Yeah, halfway to 50.
Yeah,
I always
halfway to
say that.
50.
I always
Halfway
say
to
that to
50.
Stevie. I'm like
Yeah.
halfway to
You
50.
you can mathematically round up to 30.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
I'm almost to 30 too.
That's a birthday that I'm scared about. 25.
30?
25.
Oh, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of like
That's the one I'm a
Really?
little.
because
You're
well,
just scared of 25?
because I'm like next year I turned 23 just like a month ago, and that no more, yeah, a month ago,
Mhm.
and I just think about like wow, so if I technically like count it, I'd be like next year I turn 24, and
Mhm.
then 2 years I turn 25.
She did some
And
music.
then, oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I was like, I feel like there's something
Uh-huh.
missing. No,
Um,
that's my music.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna say no, but back to what I was
Mhm.
asking of you, like how does that
Mhm.
feel, especially in comparison to like our parents?
Like how I'm getting older and like my parents were at like mom had kids at a
At
young
like
age.
19, yeah.
I remember we used to talk about this a lot. How we used to say how I was like, wow, mom had when I turned 19, I was like, mom had a baby around this age. And I was like, bro, I can't even handle kids. I was like, but for me, I feel like as I've gotten older, I feel like I mean, this was probably when I was like 22, 23. I was like, honestly, age is kind of like because I also think about I'm turning 25, right? And I remember when I was younger, I was 10. I remember I was 10 and I was talking to my cousins in Mexico and we were just playing like this random game. And then I think it was like spin the bottle, but we would ask each other like random questions. And and they asked me, they're like, "Oh, when do you want to get married and when do you want to have kids?" And I remember I said I wanted to be 25 when I had like kids and I would get married.
Wow.
I said I was gonna be 25. Like like for some reason I just said like 25 is like the age. Because at the time, I mean, you're 10.
Yeah, you don't
You feel
know.
like it's like a while
Forever.
from now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
you
I
think
don't know.
it's
And
you think it's a lot older than it
yeah, and
actually
you feel
is.
like it's like adulthood already. But I think it goes back to the same thing. Like you've seen a lot of your uncles or like your parents had kids at a young age, right? So I was like 25. I was like 25. I'll have my first kid and I'll be married by then. And then as I got older and I got into like my 20s, I was like, damn, I need to get married in the next few years or something. And then eventually, when I turned like, I was 22, 23, I was like, damn, I'm still really young. Like, I haven't even graduated college. I mean, I graduated college when I was 22, but I was like, damn, I'm barely getting out of college. Um, and eventually, I was just like, honestly, I was like, our 20s, you're still really young. Even in your 30s, you're still really young. Like you're still at a really young age, especially now. Like when some people graduate, like when they're either between like 22 or like 25, like between those. Because some people do like like their 6 years or
Yeah.
whatever. I was like, you're still like learning about yourself, and you're still learning like what you like and like especially me, like I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with my career, and even though I already graduated college, but I'm still trying to learn. So I was like, I don't like what's the word, like I don't um like shame myself for like the age that I'm at and like not being where I'm supposed to be, because I'm like, no, like I just, especially now when the pandemic, like I lost a whole year of like my career. So I was like, that doesn't like to me it doesn't matter. I'm like, well, I'll get to the point where I get where I need to get at whatever age. Like I'm not gonna stay somewhere where like I'm not happy and like for the years for just saying that I wanted to be there and like make money or whatever. Like no, I wanna know that I tried everything that I could, and then like this is what I like, this is what I didn't like, and like where I'm at is where I want to be. And it doesn't matter what age I'll be. For me, I'm like, that's why I'm like, I feel like I'll make it when I'm like 28 or 30. I'll probably finally like
That's
find where I want
cool.
to be. I was like, and I'm 25. That's like what, 4 5 years from now. I'm like,
It's a
it's
long
cool. You know,
time.
it's cool. Like I still get to experiment. Like I didn't have time to do that because I was in college so much and like I had that. But now it's just like I'm working. Like I have time for myself and I'm giving myself that time. So that's why I was like, I was wondering how you guys felt mostly,
And
especially about birthdays and like aging, because I know people are like
Freak
aging
out
and
about
like
that.
well, mostly because birthdays, I know some people, like how you said, like some people don't like celebrating their birthdays. And I always feel like it's a special time. I always feel like for me, the way I've seen birthdays, it's a time to celebrate yourself. Like it's your day, it's your special day. Like you were born that day. And I know for some people it's a little difficult because like just the way they live or stuff like that. But I always felt like birthdays are, you're meant to feel a little more special that day because it's your day. It's you day.
Yeah.
you know. But I also understand how some people like don't like celebrating their
Yeah.
birthdays, and I respect that. I'm like, okay, like it's cool. But that's why I always try my best to make people feel, especially like friends or family, like feel special on their birthday.
Mhm.
That's
Because I'm
good.
like, I feel like
Yeah.
that's the one important time for them.
Yeah, because it's weird. I remember when I was 18 or 19. I remember for some reason I thought where I'm at right now at
Mhm.
my age, I thought that's where I should have been already
Yeah.
when I was like 18 or 19.
Mhm.
And I like where I'm at right now at my age, where I'm at mentally, physically, and like career wise.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously don't have like I'm not like a at the height of my career or like or
Mhm.
wherever I want to go, but I think I'm at a good pace and at a good place. Like when I was 18 or 19, I remember I was kind of more of like I had a lot of anxiety and a lot of like fears of like, oh, am I gonna be able to do this? Am I gonna
Mhm.
be able to do that? Now at my age, I'm like, yeah, like I feel pretty confident in my ability to like go into film.
Mhm.
I feel pretty confident in like my ability to take care of my health. I feel confident in who I am as a person. Whereas when I was 18 or 19, I was kind of more faking that I was like ready for all those things.
Mhm.
Where I knew if I was given the opportunity, like I was like, go ahead, like direct this. I wouldn't have been ready, but I would have thought that I was.
Mhm.
And if I had failed, it would have hit me way harder than if I had failed now. Because if
Mhm.
I fail now, if in anything that I do now, I'm confident enough to know that I can get back up on the
Yeah.
horse, And like I'm only 23, and to me, I like the amount of stability I've created for myself.
Mhm.
That like I'm excited. I'm actually more excited to see what the future holds than I am afraid of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I feel like you're a lot more mature now. Like you have a mature mind, and you've learned everything, a lot of things throughout the years. And I feel like that's why for me, I was more understanding, and I didn't beat myself down about like where I'm at in life. Because it's like I feel like we all had these stories in our head when we were younger, and like we saw people make it at a really young age too. But it was just like, especially at these times now, like especially when people are trying to buy houses, like bro,
Hmm.
like the housing like crisis right now that's going on, like you can barely afford a house, especially in California. Like it's a lot harder now, and like I know, especially like our older brother, like I know he wants to move out, but it's a lot hard. But I understand. Like I remember I told him once, I was like, I understand that like you want to be your own adult, because I know like he's already like in his 30s, and I was like, and I understand that, but it's like, you know, it's like it's a different time. It's a different time than what our parents went through. Like
Hmm.
for parents, like when they bought the house, it was like what, like 100K.
100K.
It was just like, but now like
It's literally
when we were trying to
yeah.
sell the house, it was like 700 or even more than that.
Yeah.
Like that's how much like it's increased. So like, and for him, I remember I told him, I was like, especially because it was going on through the pandemic, I was like, at least you still have a job. Like for me, I always try to like, be optimistic. Like at least you have these things, right? Like you're still like, for a lot of people, like you're still healthy, like you're still up and running, like you're still working on yourself. And I feel like you shouldn't beat yourself down for not being where you want to be because of your age, you know. Um, so I don't know. I always thought it was interesting to like know about that, but it was interesting. Happy
Yeah.
birthday, you guys!
Thank
Thank you, and happy early birthday to you too.
Yeah, happy
So,
early birthday.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, tune in next week for my sister's birthday bash radio episode. So the second topic that I want to bring up is now my segment. Your boy Steve here. One thing that it's funny that we're talking about age. It kind of relates. The thing that I want to talk about is nostalgia, because I like thinking about, because I feel like I had a happy childhood and I had a lot of misadventures. And I wanted to specifically talk about this show called Joe Pera Talks to You. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys totally should check it out. The premise of the show is that it's a show that's meant for you to fall asleep to, but specifically he made it because he wants to help nurses who like have late night shifts or have like obviously anxiety because they're always at stress to fall asleep. And that show for some reason gives me such like a nostalgic vibe. It reminds me of when we used to live like at this old apartment. Um, and I remember everything always felt so cold and like gray, but not in a sad way, and more of like a comforting way, as if like everything was always in place. Nothing ever felt like it was messy or like too enclosed. I mean, when you're a kid, everything feels so big and so new. Um, and to me, I just wanted to ask you guys, like, what's some of your favorite nostalgic items, shows, movies, anything? What is something that you like when you see it? It kind of gets you excited, or it puts you back there. I know on the car right here, one of the things that we were definitely talking about was the Tarzan movie. We were, for those of you listening, we were bumping the Tarzan album by Phil Collins the entire ride here. It was amazing. Me and my sister literally got chills because we remembered. And one fun fact that I like about that movie is that it's actually my mom's favorite Disney movie. And I think that's kind of cute just because. Oh, okay. Shout out to Patty with a Fatty who just put it in a comment. He is he put Power Rangers. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Power Rangers honestly is one of the shows that always gives me nostalgia. I always think about my brother because obviously it was, I think the show debuted in Japan in like 1989, but it debuted here in 1991. Um and my brother was born in 1990, so he like basically grew up with the Power Rangers, and then he implemented his ideas into me. I mean, that's a lot of the things. That's the thing about growing up with like an older brother who's 9 years older than you, is that basically most of the things that I'm into right now is because of him. Yeah, like obviously for those of you who are average Primos Chidos watchers, you know that I like professional wrestling. Like yeah, like it's kind of it's a little weird thing, but like I remember the first time I ever saw it was 2004 WrestleMania 20. I remember seeing the Undertaker, 7 foot tall guy coming out and like all black, like, and he's supposed to be dead. And I'm a little boy, so I'm like, damn, like I'm scared. Like I didn't know people could do that. But going back, yeah, go ahead.
I remember it was a little blurry because it was like on the.
It was illegal. It was like on a black box.
Yeah,
different time back then.
There's a nice charm to the old TVs, right? I remember we used to have this big, giant box TV. It was huge. It was like maybe like from this wall to like the wall, but it like a flat screen would be, but it was like a giant box TV. And just like sometimes I'll see pictures of it and like because I miss that TV. It was just there's just a charm to it. So but yeah.
I I feel like the smell of what is it, like burning wood always takes me back to Mexico.
I feel
Every
you.
single time, every single, or when they're, when Bubby's having like the carne asadas in the back,
Mhm.
like the smell always takes me back to like Mexico. um I was thinking there's a song, I think it's by what's it called, is it Midnight, I forgot, but there's a song that always takes me back to like middle school. It's like, let me look it up, let me look up the song. But and then I always remember
So
Sorry to pause the show for a second, guys. We're having technical difficulties once again. But just to fill up some air, some dead air, I'm gonna go ahead and say more of things that made me nostalgic. I remember when I was a little kid, I had this white shirt that was Pokemon. And at the time, Pokemon wasn't even that far of being a new show. It was still some of the first few seasons where it was Ash and like the iconic. Okay, your shout out Patty with Fatty. He said Esos on Reebok or Nike. You know, it's
or
weird.
Nike, bro.
Or Nike.
You've never seen the meme?
Yes, I know which one he's talking about.
Then why you say Nike?
Oh, because it's like a reflex, you know. I'm just thinking about Nike. Oh, okay, cool.
okay, so cool. We fixed the thanks. Shout out to Mysterious Jax on
From
Ladies
TGN,
Night.
yeah,
Ladies
from Ladies
Night.
Night.
You guys got to check out that show. And
Yeah.
Keep Good News, the Top of the Morning podcast. Our bosses, who are not just our bosses, they're our friends and great podcast hosts.
Okay,
But
Oh yeah, now I found the song. It's called Midnight City by M83.
they were my number one.
Really, you listen to the M8 3
I
that
like-
much?
I like. It was just. I think it was just coincidental. It's not that I like them specifically. I just really like instrumentals. I'm more of a
I
soft.
see.
I like more soft sounds, and
Yeah,
I feel like they have a lot of that. Like
Yeah.
this song, 2011.
like
How old was I?
the Oblivion.
2011. That's 10 years ago. Damn.
Holy
So I was
shit!
15.
Yeah, you were 15.
I was in high school.
I was
Yeah, so
10.
it always takes me back to
was
like
13.
You know
middle
what's
school, high
crazy?
school.
That's crazy though. About going back to age just really quick is
Yeah.
like the older you get, the age gaps seem less. Like if you were 15, I was 10. To me, that's a huge age gap. But now that I'm 21 and you're 24, 24, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem
Yeah,
like
it's
all
like-
that much. You know what I mean? Or
no,
like
yeah. Once I feel like once you become kind of like an adult, like the ages kind of unless it's like something huge, like 20 years older than you,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. From like, because I got when I worked at the bowling alley recently, I worked at a bowling alley part time to make some money for Black Friday. For context, and I remember my coworkers were all about 18 to 20. And so I wasn't the oldest one there because we had a coworker who was like 30.
Mhm,
But like for the most part, it felt like we were around the same age, especially because everybody's wearing their mask,
mhm.
so you can't really like see people's face. As if like I don't think people look older, you know.
yeah.
But it made me just think about how like once you become kind of an adult, the age gaps don't really matter as much,
Mhm.
unless it's something like insane. And he's like, oh, he's 30 years older. Well, yeah, then
Yeah.
obviously like there's a huge generational gap.
Yeah.
But we're all Gen Z.
Yeah.
Who was you? You just made it. You just made it. I know 1986 is like the last year,
Sad.
but we're still the same. We're still the same gen. I forgot where the gap is for the other one. Do you know?
I think it's like 2004. or
2004. Yeah. So
My
we're
sister's born in 2004, which is crazy because like how you said for me how I was always like that. My sister's about to turn 18,
Mhm.
which is weird because I have a bunch of which it's to me is just really weird that she's that old because it's like I just have memories of us playing in the backyard and she was like really tiny.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just weird. But going back to your
You know-
nostalgia thing, nostalgia for me, I remember my parents they wake up really early because they worked in the city and they'd work long hours, like
Mhm.
early morning, late in the afternoon. And obviously, like they didn't have. They took me to my tia's house, like at 3, 4 in the morning, and they wouldn't really wake up Brian, but they'd kind of wake me up because I was like I don't really remember, but I was in grade school. I was enough to get up, but I'd go back to sleep at her house and go to school. But during the mornings, I'd watch Crocodile Hunter and stuff like that. So I made me sad.
Really?
Yeah. In the mornings, I'd watch a bunch of like nature shows and stuff, and it was really relaxing to me.
Bro, honestly, I can't remember anything of my childhood.
You can't.
But it's because also I always
I
think
don't
about
remember
it.
anything.
I always
I
think
can't
about
remember anything at
this
all.
incident that happened when my sister was little.
I busted my head open. Fun fact.
Yeah, when we were
when I
really,
was what, like 8, 10,
yeah,
or
when we were
something.
really young, me and my sister were jumping on my brother's like back, which already,
I
don't,
do
you
remember that.
shouldn't,
I
you
do.
shouldn't
I low
jump.
key do remember that.
That's why whenever we're with our nephew, I always tell him don't jump on the bed. I always tell him the that rhyme like no more
What
monkey.
happened to the monkey?
Yeah, and he always brings it up. He's always like Theo, Theo. It's like remember the monkey? The doctor told him no more jumping on the bed, and I was like, yes sir. You better listen. You better listen, cause your aunt, you fucking busted your head open and like
Bruh.
right on the
I
corner.
low key, I don't remember anything but that. Like I remember how it happened. I remember hitting my head, and then because I've hit my head before. Like I remember I've had other incidents where I've hit my head before. Like when I accidentally like slipped and like hit myself like super hard
Mhm.
on my head. And I remember like the sensations, right? Like the sensations you feel like when you hit like the back of your
Mhm.
head. And then I remember so when that time happened, I remember I was like, "Fuck." Well, and I didn't say that, but I was just like, and then I remember I was like, I am chilling. Like I legit was like, I'm not gonna cry. Like I'm chilling. I'm
Yeah.
chilling. And then I just remember I went like this and I just saw blood on my
Bro,
hands.
yes.
I remember
yes.
just seeing blood on my hands, and that's when I screamed. When I instantly I could remember that. I could legit remember that. I remember just seeing the blood in my hands, and I instantly just started screaming.
You know what's crazy to me is I remember I
And
don't know
but
if
I low key didn't hurt. Like it wasn't hurting. Like I just screamed because
Probably
because
adrenaline.
I saw
Was
the blood.
scary,
Yeah.
I remember I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I
Hmm.
had like a vision when I went to sleep at night because they took you at first they didn't even take you to the
They didn't even
hospital.
want to take me to the hospital.
Yeah, well, because we
Yeah.
were. That's when we were on a bro.
We
we were on our low. We were on our
Yeah.
low. We were just low.
Yeah.
We didn't want to go to pay anything. But
Yeah.
anyways, I never told you this, but I had like a vision that night when I went to sleep. When they took you to the hospital finally, I remember I went to sleep and I dreamt that I was at the hospital looking at them put like the staples in your head.
Did they put staples in your head?
Yeah, they stapled my head.
Yeah.
I remember. Well, that's an interesting form of nostalgia because I think we were talking about this where it's like, do you remember how like you kind of were a little indestructible as a kid? Like you take some bumps.
Yeah.
But I remember, man, my sister, she was probably like she was a baby. I remember that. So I had to be like 4 or 5. This was when we just moved into my house, and it did not look like how it looked. It was a lot more like it was a fixer upper then. And I remember we had these old like stairs.
Mhm.
You've seen, when you guys went to my house, the back porch, how there's those little stairs.
Uh-huh.
I would always run up them, and my dad would be like, "Don't do that, because you're gonna fall and hurt yourself."
Mhm.
And I'd be like, like, and I remember one day he's like, "Son, like, don't do that. You're gonna hurt yourself." And I was like, "Whatever."
What do you know,
And-
old man?
Yeah. And oh my god, I like slipped and I fucking.
Damn.
I still have the scar on my chin right here.
Wait,
I still feel it. Shout out to Sean Smith. Shout out. He said the first time I tune in a cool minute and y'all revealing traumatic events.
hey, we're talking about nostalgia, man. Every single type of nostalgia, even traumatic events. I don't know, Julie. Has anything ever happened to me when I was a kid? I got hurt when I was older, but never when I was.
You did. I remember you did hit yourself on something and you did bleed a little bit, but it was just like small. It wasn't as big as mine.
You know what? I just.
Oh, when Lucky bit your face.
Oh my god! But I was so young, I don't remember it. So when I was probably like 3 years old, probably Valentine's age, I remember we got this new dog, Lackey, who ended up living to be like 18 years old. But anyways, we had
R.I.P.
R.I.P. I love you, boy, wherever you are. Anyways, I remember I was like, we had just brought him home, and he was like from the adoption center, so he was kind of like
He was from the pound.
Yeah, he was from the pound, so he was kind of aggressive. He didn't really like people, and he didn't really like other dogs. They even had to keep him like separate. And since I was like a dumb little kid, I was like, oh, like dogs, they like smell each other when they're like sitting with stuff. I didn't smell his butt.
You just put your nose in his face?
No, I put my nose in his. Yeah, I like sniffed his. I did like the dog sniffle, and he bit me like hard on my chin. And my mom said that like the blood was like splurting out like a hose after, and I was like crying, and my mom was like, I never did that shit again.
It's because he was also eating.
Yeah,
I think that's why he like lashed out.
No, but I love that boy. He ended up loving us so much, and he ended up being a really smart dog.
Yeah.
And he never was aggressive with us ever like once he got older. He was aggressive, but still with everybody else. To the day he died, he literally, when he was on his deathbed, he literally still was like
He
growling
was,
at the
yeah.
doctors. And I was like, oh, that's my boy, always fighting to the bitter end. I love you, boy, wherever you are.
I'm trying to think of like other stuff.
I know it's weird we're talking about like traumatic things now, but
Traumatic
It
nostalgia.
was-
yeah, traumatic nostalgia. I remember another one was when our dad, like on a random day, our dad was in the back like feeding our dogs,
Oh my
and
God.
and then I think we hear him like scream or something, and then like I just see him walk into the house, and he's just like gushing
yeah.
blood down like his forehead,
Jesus.
and apparently what happened is we had a very like energetic and loving pit bull. Her name was Chata.
R.I.P. to her.
And we also had two other big dogs, one of them Cookie and Clifford. R.I.P. to them too. um and so there are three big dogs like gathering around my dad who's feeding them, and like Chata, out of love, she jumps on my dad, and I don't know how because nobody was around, but I don't know how, but somehow he pushes my dad, and you know how the gates, gates have like the little pointy things on top, like the kind of like arrows. My dad like somehow hits like the top of his forehead right on one of them, and he comes in and he's like pouring blood, and I remember my mom was crying.
No, yeah,
like trying to keep.
Mom was trying to like.
She was like a surgeon.
Yeah, she was legit a surgeon, and she was crying at the same time
Cause
she was scared. She was scared.
It was like how we brought up pro wrestling.
He looked like
Ric Flair.
He looked like Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah,
he looked he looked like what's it called? Shawn Michaels, the triple threat
Was he
between
like
between
was he like
Triple
John
H
Cena, bro, with
and
JBL?
and the one who shall not be named.
such a niche like reference. I wonder if anybody gets that, but no, yeah, he still has a scar on it too.
Well, because what happened was that he was because I don't know if you remember in our old house we had that one white gate there. So what he does is that we used to keep the bigger dogs in the back because like they would be too aggressive in the front. So what he was trying to do was he was trying to put the gates together because they always hit it. So when they jump on it, it opens. So what he was trying to do is he was putting wires like on the bottom, but he was calling at them. He was like, Cookie, Clifford. Like he was whistling, and like they got excited.
Got excited.
So they jumped on the gate, and once they jumped on the gate, they hit him, and it like how it rattles.
Yeah.
So it hit him really like fast. Yeah. So then he like walked in and like he was bleeding, and then yeah.
I remember I was like, damn. He still, if you look at him, he still has the scar from it. He looks like he has the Harry Potter scar like on his forehead.
My dad, he almost lost the whole hand too.
Oh. My dad almost had his hand cut off because my dad's kind of a baby when it comes to the doctor.
He hates the doctor.
Yeah, he's
he hates paying for it and he hates going.
He's deathly afraid of needles. Like, I kind of find it funny because my dad will scream when he gets like a shot at like the top of his lungs. Like he's not afraid. He's not embarrassed or anything. He'll scream, and I just find it funny because I know for a fact there's a kid in the waiting room who's like nervous about getting like the flu shot, and he just hears a grown man like shouting at the top of his lungs, which is my dad.
They've taken our nephew and they've been like, look, Grandpa's crying.
Yeah, my nephew was like, Grandpa's crying,
and the nurses started laughing.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but one time my dad's he's a technician. So you're not supposed to. It's weird because now
the number one rule.
Yeah, I'm literally taking the class now, and one of the first things they tell you is to not wear any jewelry. But my dad, he wears rings, like gold rings, on his fingers. And he was like reaching in to the electrical component of the car, and he got like shocked. And I remember my mom and my dad said that the ring that he had on his ring finger was glowing like red as it was on his skin, and then he took it out, and like his fingers had like, because he didn't want to go to the doctor, he just wrapped it up, and I think like a week. What? It took like
it was like, so what happened was that he put it in ice. Even when they put it in ice, he said it was smoking.
Oh yeah, he said that when he put his finger in the ice, that it started smoking.
So what happened is that he eventually just like put something on it, but he never went to the doctor. So it took him like a whole last week to go to the doctor. And we were at a party, and my dad was like, he was just like down and depressed. And so then what happened?
He said he felt sick.
Yeah, he felt sick. So we were at a party, and like usually like my dad, he likes to dance and everything. And this time like he was just like, he was low. Like he was just like, I don't feel good. And so then finally my mom was like, I'm taking you to the doctor tomorrow. And so we went. And so what happened is that I guess like it got infected, and the infection was like going up his arm, and so it
Oof.
basically it was making him like feel sick. And so
Yeesh.
basically what they said is that they were gonna like clean it or whatever. They were gonna give him like the what is it called, like they call it antibioticos, so like antibodies, like medicine or whatever.
Mhm.
And so they cleaned it out and all that stuff. And so then they were like, if it would have gotten more infected, they would have like chopped off his like his
Yeah.
fingers. And
Yikes.
since it was like leaking into his body, they would have chopped off like his whole hand
Yeah,
basically.
and apparently the doctor was kind of upset too because he was like, "Why wouldn't you come in earlier?"
Yeah.
It's like just looking at it, it looks bad,
Yeah.
and like he said that if you had waited like a little bit longer, we would have had to cut off your own hand because it would have I think it would have died. Like his fingers would have been like
Yeah.
gangrene.
Yeah.
And then plus, so
Oh, yeah.
they so then after that, right? They cleaned it, they wrapped it, and they told him that like, "I'll come back like in a couple days, because then they're gonna clean it again and then give you another ban." And so he went by himself. My mom didn't go with him, but he went by himself. That's another fact, right? And so then my mom, when he came home, I think like a day later, my mom was like, "Oh, like what did they tell you? Like did they tell you to go back?" Because she was like, "I assumed that like they told you that they were gonna change the ban." And he's like, "No, they just told me to have the ban on and then go back in like a week or something."
He was lying.
He was lying. Because okay, that fool, he's a workaholic, so he hates missing work.
Yeah, my dad.
So then my mom finally like sent him to like he went back, right? And his hands were stuck together because all the pus had like leaked into his hands.
He couldn't open them.
So he couldn't open them. So what they had to do is they had to again cut and like clean it, and he said that shit hurt because it was like they were ripping like his fingers apart basically, and his skin was like stuck together.
Yikes.
Mom was like, "I'm never letting you go to the doctor by yourself again."
Well, Sean Smith says, "Bro, oh my God, your pops almost lost it all,
Bruh, for real. That fool.
And guess what? He still wears rings while doing his technician stuff. He just uses the other hand now that doesn't have rings. But that's the end. That disgusting story is the end to my segment. Thanks for tuning in. As always, it's a pleasure. Brandon, why don't you go ahead and lead us into what you wanted to talk about?
So the first thing I want to do is I wanted to share some positivity. So I wanted to make my segment always have some positivity in it. So
okay.
I just got some quotes. So I was talking to Patty with the Patty about Theodore Roosevelt the other day, and coincidentally, that's also my favorite president. But I told you about it. The quote was, "Never in history has a man who lived an easy life left behind a name worth remembering." So if you're going through a hard time, it's making you a better man. So don't worry about it.
Or better woman.
Yeah, better man, woman, child,
them,
whatever.
They, them,
whatever.
Human.
Oh, that's a good segue.
Let me write that on my notepad really quick.
That's a good segue.
Human.
So my question for you guys is, just in a quick answer, if you guys had a time machine, what would you guys do?
If I had a time machine,
really quickly, just what would you do?
Really quickly, I'd go to the future as long as I could come back.
Yeah, Julie.
I was like, damn, that's hard.
He said really quickly. First thing, go ahead.
All right. I'd go back.
You go back?
Mhm.
Interesting. 'Cause I'd
I'd go
also
back.
choose to go back. And the reason I choose to go back is because I was thinking about this, and there's a really great video that you guys should check out if you want to. It's this paleontologist kind of science YouTuber called Trey the Explainer. He's really good. But anyways, I kind of got this topic off of him. So I was thinking about I used to want to be a paleontologist when I was a kid. And speaking of nostalgia, I have a dinosaur tattoo. You probably can't see it on TV, but I always wanted to be a dinosaur I wanted to be a dinosaur scientist. But what's interesting about that is, did you guys know that an estimated 1% of fossils that we found, I mean, not all the fossils we found, it's estimated that's only 1% of all species ever. Like we have no idea anything else. And what's interesting about that is that 99.9% of all species that have ever lived are extinct, according to scientists.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
So, and even more interesting is, so fossils can only form in certain like places, right? So they can't form in like rainforests. Like they can, but it's extremely hard to form them. So there's probably like a lot of things we have zero idea what they look like, and we'll never know. And I was thinking, like, if I had a time machine, like, what an interesting thing to like be able to go see all the stuff that we have no idea what is there. Because so listen to this. This is a fact I didn't know about. So there's this thing called Romer's Gap, and it was discovered or recognized by this paleontologist named Alfred Romer. And basically, what Romer's Gap is, it's about 15 million year gap. I think it's like 315 million years ago to 345 million years ago, where there's basically no fossils. Like we have no idea why there's no fossils. Like it's just missing. Like there's just a missing piece of time. 15 million years, just missing. We have no idea. You know, some people are like, oh, well, maybe it's formation, like the environment was just not hospitable. But 15 million years of animals, we have no idea what was going on.
What do you think about people who say that we might have not been the first like intelligent society
That's
to live in the
insane that you're asking that because that's part of my segment.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's insane that you're asking.
He did his research.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research. So basically, I was just gonna say this is kind of saying like it kind of demonstrates how we have no idea about like what history kind of hides. And when I was thinking, so the earliest humans that show up, so like not humans, like autonomously us, like the branch of humans in general, show up around 6 million years ago. And I think the first species is called Ardipithecus. That's like the first, like we recognize as one of our ancestors. Modern humans, like anatomically us, show up about 300,000 years ago. And the Stone Age started about 2.5 million years ago. And that ended around 5,000 years ago, which is coincidentally when we started recording stuff. Like when we started, we started writing and recording stuff. That's a lot of missing history. And I was thinking like, because I mentioned this before, how scientists were like, oh, apes are in the Stone Age. And I Googled it again, and I think it's kind of been a little refuted because they're saying like, there's not enough spontaneity in the apes. Like they're just not doing that themselves. They think that they're copying people. But irrespective, there's a lot of animals that use tools like ravens, chimps. And I was thinking a lot of people,
beavers.
a lot of minds go to like, oh, what are these like hidden civilizations where they're like the Egyptians essentially. But like you never know. Like what if it was just sticks and stones? Like imagine a species of dinosaur or a species of hidden animal that like became, you know, they just had tribes, sticks and stones. And to me, that's like crazy because it's a really real possibility. Do you guys think that was maybe real?
There's so much that you said that I want to touch on. First thing I'm gonna say is I'm gonna read some of these comments. Okay, so Sean Smith says if he was to go back in time, he says I'm beating the fuck out of Columbus. Okay, valid. Patty with the fatty said visit historical events but not intervene and ruin the timeline, killing us all. Wow, what a hero. And then Sean Smith said, if I'm going back in time, let's go big. What does that even mean?
Go big or go home.
It's kind of
ambiguous. I think he's saying like he's gonna change some shit. Like,
well, it's weird that you both said go back in time, and I said the future. But so I want to ask you both, like, especially after reading what you just said, doesn't that scare you? Don't you think like you could? What if you went back in time, and especially, bro, prehistoric time when like everything was huge, like there was like giant scorpions and giant snakes, like. You wouldn't be scared that the minute you showed up, you'd like die, but there'd be so much oxygen though.
I'd be like,
I don't know why that came in my head because I know that's why things are big. I bet you that first breath,
maybe
would hit different. Would hit different.
Maybe I'd grow.
What?
Maybe I'd grow a little bit.
Oh, you grow? Imagine you got taller. You gained like 3 inches.
As a fellow Chad intellect of the past, history is amazing. I agree.
He put the disguise emojis too, so we won't read his username.
Well, what I would do is I would kind of just be an observer. I wouldn't interfere. Like if I could just kind of go and nobody sees me, and I could just watch like all the stuff that like is hidden. Like just it's insane to me. Like 99% of animals that have ever existed are extinct, and we also have like no trace of them.
Well, because when you really think about it, the Earth, you know, and it's cheesy to mention like Bible verses, because I'm not a religious person, but like the whole like from what is it? From dust you came, from dust you shall be again.
It's dust to dust, ashes to ashes.
Yeah, like it's so true in the sense of like the Earth, bro. Almost nothing can survive that long of like existence.
Well, it's also like interesting because like the video that I kind of pulled this from, like inspiration from, he was talking about how like. You know Megalodon, right? The biggest shark.
Yeah.
The reason sharks don't have bones. They don't have bones. The only reason we kind of know that exists is because of the teeth. but we also have octopus, we have squid, we have all kinds of like animals that don't have anything to leave behind to fossilize. So there could have been squid people
I
walking
mean-
around. You know,
I
we
mean,
have no
squid
idea.
people.
Like,
And in our lifetime, we discovered the giant squid. Before, it used to be a myth that like people and sailors, and then I think like what in the last 10 years, it's like no, yeah, there's a species of giant squid that like is deep down and it's dark. Yeah, a lot of people say like now that's probably what Vikings used to think were krakens, just giant squid. And I mean that was just in our lifetime that we discovered that. I mean, you're talking about millions of years. There's probably something out there. There was probably something in the past that was like deathly scary. Where if I saw it today, I'd be like, nah, I think I'm good being in the future and maybe like just trying out VR.
Patty
or
with the
something.
fatty says, Chad Brandon, do you know of the boring billions? I don't. I actually don't.
Yeah, why don't you
Chad
go-
Brandon.
Go into detail,
I love how
please.
he called you that.
But going back to like animals that are like crazy, do you guys know what the biggest land animal ever was?
No, what
A
was it?
mammal, that is. Land mammal, that is.
A chicken.
Ever.
Oh, the biggest land mammal ever.
Yeah, as
Is it-
far as we know.
Uh,
Take a guess, just guess.
Mammoths.
It's not actually. It's a good guess though. It's a really good guess. I think that's number 2.
Oh, really?
But I just want to see your reaction to what it actually is.
Okay,
So,
what is it?
Julie, you can Google it up. It's this animal called Periceratherium. P-A-R-A-C-E-R. There you go. Near
This one?
horned beast. Yeah. Now this
Let me
thing's
see.
related to rhinos actually.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. That thing's massive, right?
It's bigger than
Oh,
an
it's-
elephant.
They come
Yeah.
out in Ice Age, right?
Yeah, they do. They do. They
The
do.
movie.
Yeah, which is crazy because well, yeah, that's related to rhinos according to science.
It looks like a rhino.
Yeah,
I
so
see it.
but like just that thing,
Bruh,
just
you
that-
lying.
just that thing in general. Can you imagine the amount of animals that were probably impossibly large, impossibly like, you know, because we don't know about environments either of the past that much, because, you know, like things that evolved to be into that it's just like, I don't know. So going back to your nostalgia, I was always nostalgic about dinosaurs. I really liked them because to me it was
I
like,
was about to say that.
yeah, like it was always like, to me the past is that was like, it was proof to me that there was magic in the world, like that something that could evolve to be that magnificent to me felt like magic. So that's why
Wow.
I like that.
Bruh.
I mean, you guys are making me emotional.
Bruh, now that I saw this picture, what's that movie? The one with the dinosaurs and the monkeys?
Dinosaur.
Oh, dinosaur.
It's
yeah.
called
I have
Dinosaur?
it on
Yeah.
DVD.
Bruh,
I have it on
I saw
VCR.
this, and now going back to the nostalgia, bro, that movie always takes me back. I always want to cry when I
yeah.
see it because it always takes me back to childhood.
Well, what's also interesting, I was thinking, is
It used to kind of creep me out, honestly.
It
'cause
did.
It looked a
it-
little too
it
real,
did,
like uncanny.
It did, but there was something about it that I just really liked
It's
it.
just a little charming.
Yeah.
There's like something about it.
Especially like the villains, the like evil dinosaurs.
Oh, the Carnotaurus.
Yeah, I think so. They have like
Oh
horns
yeah,
and stuff.
those are scary.
You know-
I remember thinking like this is kind of scary.
Those aren't as big as they portray in the movie, but you know what's interesting is about those is people,
Ah, yes.
the scientists kind of think those were like the cheetahs of the past. Like those were kind of like the niche that they filled. That they were really fast. Yeah.
You know what I always think about too is like dinosaurs 100% don't look like what we think they look
Mhm.
like, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's that whole theory of like dinosaurs had feather now, and I mean, if you look at it, there's no way. Yeah, there's no way that's what dinosaurs look like to me. Whenever I see pictures of dinosaurs, I always feel like it just looks too off to me. I mean, I'm not being like a conspiracy
Well, I
theorist.
feel like if you, I kind of keep up as a kind of like a hobby, because
Yeah, of course.
do.
No.
But really quickly, Patty with Patty says it's just formation of Earth through volcanoes, oceans, etc. I thought I'd bring it up. I
just
brought it up
brought
because
it
of the
up.
name. What do you think about dragons? Could have been. Well, what's interesting about that is I think dragons are more
Dragons?
fossils, because there's a lot of fossils that have been lost to time, like a famous dinosaur, Spinosaurus. There is one of the most complete specimens was destroyed in World War II. And it kind of set us back, because now if you look at what's Spinosaurus came out in Jurassic Park 3. Do you remember? If you
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
watched
yeah.
Jurassic Park 3?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that anymore.
what do you mean it doesn't look like that anymore?
Scientists, you can Google, if you want to Google, look up Spinosaurus modern I don't know, modern whatever,
modern
like,
interpretation?
modern because they found
Modern?
new bones and stuff, and it looks a lot different actually.
Just like a modern, yeah.
Modern.
Yeah.
So that one's probably the
Oh,
most,
so it's like an aquatic animal or what?
Google it. So they a while ago, I think they realized it didn't have very long legs. It was kind of just stubby. And they were like, oh, it's because it was sitting in the water. But they found recently, not recently, maybe like a year ago, the tail bones, and it was kind of like a crocodile. So it kind of confirms it 100% was in the water.
Wow.
But like, just stuff like that to me is like, what an amazing like beast. Like that's crazy to me that existed.
I always use the example of, and you're gonna think this is annoying because I always say this off the show, and I've said this for a long time, but I've always said that space travel to me is scary in the sense of like, if like, how tall were dinosaurs? Like obviously huge, right?
I think like 15, 20 feet tall.
15, 20 feet tall. Some
Predators.
Yeah.
The biggest, I think, is like 100, like in length.
Yeah, in length. So yeah, from like 20 to 100 feet tall. And imagine if that could exist here on Earth. Imagine going to, you're an astronaut and you get sent on this mission far in the future, obviously, like Dune like timeline, like 2552 or whatever. You get sent, you're an astronaut, you get sent to like a new planet, and you're like, oh, like this has like air, oxygen, water, like there's probably like wildlife there. Imagine landing there and you see like 100-foot tall animal, and like
Scary.
it's scary, like a dinosaur.
Well, like what's also interesting is like the ocean, right? The reason like whales, because I think the biggest animal on record ever, like history, everything is alive right now, and it's the blue whale. That's the biggest ever. That's like about as big as we think an animal can get. We think maybe bigger, but like not by a lot. But the only reason it's that big is because of the water obviously displaces gravity. So when whales beach themselves, it's kind of a race against time because the weight of them under gravity, like it's crushing them, it's suffocating them. So, and then also, I googled why mammals don't really get as big as dinosaurs. And if you look up the what we were talking about, the Periceratherium, that's about as big as a T-Rex was. Little taller. That's about as big as the predators were. But the reason mammals don't get as big as like the Brachiosaurus, the ones you see the long neck dinosaurs, is so they think Periceratherium, it had a gestation period of about 2 years to make a baby.
Damn.
Which is forever.
Damn.
Like elephants, I think take a little over a year, which is also forever.
Yeah.
And I think they also burn so much energy because we make our own heat.
Yeah.
That it's just like it's like almost impossible for a mammal to get that big, which I think is also really interesting. But yeah, I don't know.
You know, I heard a fun fact about whales. I hear that when the whale dies, that because it's so big and there's so many natural gases in it, there's a small chance it could explode.
Really?
Like just naturally
that true,
explode.
though?
Yeah. It is.
I think it's happened before.
It's happened before. That's why they've said that when if you find like a dead whale in the ocean,
Get away.
sometimes people like to like go on it because it's like obviously like a fish. It's kind of like its stomach is up, so it makes a good like bed for you to stand on. But then you're not supposed to do that because like if
It'll
you
explode.
you might move around like the natural gas inside of it, and because it's decomposing, it might genuinely explode. Yeah, so whales sometimes be spontaneously combusting.
Whales are so interesting, bro. Just I don't know, they're just really interesting to me. Like how smart they are and how big they are. Now they I don't know, just the ocean's really interesting too, because like all the stories that the past could tell about what was the ocean is hiding. Because I think they also say there's like 15 species about bigger than a dolphin that we still haven't found.
Really?
Yeah.
I think something like that. I read that somewhere where it's like
But
scientists
we're
estimate.
going to Mars and we can't like find all the species that currently exist right now.
I think the ocean's just weirdly a little more difficult than space because of all the pressure. But kind of wrapping it up, like one thing I thought was interesting because I was kind of gonna get to, but we're out of time. It's all right. Maybe next week. Is
tune in, guys.
Is because basically all this about how like intelligent animals and like maybe in the past there was like sticks and stones dinosaurs that like hunted in tribes and stuff like that. That got to an advancement that didn't quite get. And I was like, I wonder if humans are kind of a niche. Because if you Googled it, like what niche humans fill, and for the most part, everyone's like, we don't really have one because we kind of control everything. And I was just wondering, like, is that true, or we just don't know that we're a niche yet? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we left, would apes kind of fill our niche? Because like chimps, like, can you imagine like chimps would never know? Like, if humans like disappeared, chimps would never know that there was an intelligent species that was just messing around with them, that kept them in zoos and talked to them and taught them sign language and like studied them and was like predicting their future and all that. Like, cause can you imagine primitive humans like in around the chimpanzee stage, and there's another life form above us, kind of like running tests on us,
Mhm.
being like, "Nah, these guys are the next ones" and stuff.
Well, I've talked about. I don't know we're running out of time,
Mhm.
but I've talked about this before of how humans have kind of fucked up the Earth so bad
Mhm.
that if we were to just disappear right now,
It'd be noticeable.
it would be bad because our like nuke or what's it
The
called?
nuclear power plants.
Our nuclear power plants without maintenance, they would eventually explode, and that would basically mean basically a few hundred like nuclear bombs going off in the world, which would eventually cause nuclear weather, which would block out the sun, kill most of like animal and plant life, and like probably cover the sun for like maybe a million year.
Well, what's also interesting is
Yeah, so
about-
like it's if we disappear, it's kind of like bad for the earth too.
well, about that, there's one, I think it's called the Great Dying. It's called the Permian Extinction, where almost everything on Earth went extinct. In the past,
Oh,
this
I
is
know what you're
which
talking
is
about, yeah.
really interesting if you guys want to look it up. But I always thought that was really interesting because it just goes to show how life can bounce back from anything. But hope you guys found that interesting. I found it interesting.
Yeah, we're about at the tail end. We're basically done with our show, but I want to give a quick shout out to everybody who commented: Patty with Fatty, Sean Smith, anybody else who's been watching or listening. Shout out to you guys. And
Then just to end the show, because I would like to end well, because just coincidentally I end the show today. I want to open and close with something positive. So here's another quote. It says, it's by Marcus Aurelius, the great king philosopher, who says, dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars and see yourself running with them. So hope you guys have a great week, and you guys enjoyed the show. I know we had a lot of fun. So Julie, want to say anything?
Be safe, y'all. Stay warm. Like I said in the beginning, stay warm, stay hydrated.
see you
Hope
guys
y'all
next
have a
week.
great weekend. Tune in next week
Thanks
for the
for
birthday
listening.
bash.
Thank you for listening.
For the
Thank you.
birthday bash, bring
For the
some
birthday
shots.
bash.
Educate.
Yeah.
Halfway to 50. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Oh my God!
All right. Well, the radio is done, but YouTube, you guys always get a few extra minutes of content. What should we give them today?
Mm.
Uh,
Let me think.
Oh, freestyle. Let's do a freestyle.
Alright.
Okay.
Who's gonna
Here at the TGN station, I've never owned a PlayStation.
You can't rhyme station with station.
I would have assumed.
Okay.
I would have assumed you said nation or something.
I'm out here with my friend and my sister. Sometimes when she goes to San Francisco, yeah, I miss her.
That's very good. That's
There you
very
go.
good.
There you go.
End it.
Hurry. We gotta end the